Lisa, are you there?
I am, Roy.
Okay,
Thank you.
great. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me. And I also want to echo, Lynn, that was a very informative presentation and gives us a lot to think about. So thank you so
Well,
much.
thank you. Mhm.
All right, Roy, can I share my screen?
Yes, go
It
ahead,
says
please.
someone else is sharing. So,
Yes, I think Lynn's stuff is
okay.
Let me see if
still
I
there.
can, let me do it. Okay. Let's see. Is it done?
No,
So,
No.
we still see the
The old
gentleman.
man?
Yes,
The old
there you go.
Okay.
He's gone.
there we go.
It's
Technology
not
is great,
pretty.
Lynn. All right. Well, again, thank you so much for having me here today, Roy and everyone. I'm going to talk about, um, is it okay to have this on the side here? Or I guess I can move that out of the way.
However you wish.
Okay. I'm going to talk today about using walking poles to foster resiliency in older adults. I'm down the road from y'all in Nashville. I'm a certified athletic trainer and certified strength and conditioning specialist and have my degrees from the University of Florida. My disclaimers here. I have a preference for the use of activator tool poles as an assistive device to promote movement. And my financial relationships include I contract with Urban Pollings as their marketing and sales associate, and I represent them as an instructor and presenter at various courses. So let's talk about urban polling, or otherwise known as Nordic walking. If you think about walking, combining that with cross-country skiing and take away the skis, that is Nordic walking. So it combines specialized walking poles to give you benefits for aerobic and strength training. If you've never seen it, I'm going to show you real quickly what it looks like.
I'm always amazed at how incredible I feel when I'm urban poling. I love my gym is wherever I am, my street, a local park or trail. As soon as I step out my door, that I have once I'm done, the ultimate release. It's hard to put into words.
So Nordic walking can be broken down into two techniques depending on the need of the person. The urban poling technique, the traditional Nordic walking, are with the arms in the front and the poles at an angle. And this propels you along. So this is more fit for people who are less of a fall risk, um, are more fit and able to control their bodies. If someone needs a little bit more control, I would recommend something we call the activator technique, which is modified Nordic walking with the poles to the front. And you can see this offers him much more support. Um, Basically, he becomes four-legged. It's like having four-wheel drive. When you walk, you are only using your lower extremity muscles. So pretty much from waist down. Waist up is sort of taking a vacation. But when you put a pair of poles in your hand, now you're using 90% of your muscles. Everything from neck down is involved. So you can imagine this is a much better exercise than walking alone. I talk about resilience by using the poles. And resilience is defined as the capacity to withstand or recover quickly from difficulties, a sort of a toughness, the ability to spring back into shape. And we want that. The more resilient we are, the better we can recover from things that life throws at us, especially as we age. So the exercise goal for adults, we've heard this over and over and over, is 150 minutes of moderate intensity aerobic activity with muscle strengthening activities 2 days a week. So moderate intensity, if you're just going out for a stroll, you're not getting that moderate intensity. That's more light intensity. So Nordic walking is added into how much physical activity you can do. It also is considered a strength and balance exercise in addition to a moderately intensive uh, sort of exercise. There are over 300 studies on PubMed on the benefits of pole walking. And these achieve key goals to promote increased physical activity by improving our confidence and balance, upright posture. As I said earlier, it provides a total body workout, getting your arms and legs involved. It increases your caloric expenditure because you have so many more muscles working. It increases your strength, especially in the upper body, which does not get any benefit from traditional walking. It reduces pain by offloading some of the stress on the joints. It increases walking tolerance and speed, and it improves mood and positive self-image. So I'm going to share with you just a few studies. So there's systematic review of Nordic walking, increases the caloric expenditure and VO2 max. So the Cooper Institute reported an average of 20% and as high as 46% increase in caloric expenditure and oxygen consumption. Again, because of more muscles being used. It increases your heart rate. And interestingly, it does not really increase the rate of perceived exertion. So even though you're working harder, you don't feel as if you're working harder. This is an Australian review of 14 articles on the effects of pole walking in adults. Most of these sessions, most of these programs are supervised group sessions 2 to 3 times a week for about 8 weeks or sometimes longer. And they're measuring quality of life, usually cardiorespiratory as well. And the conclusion that this systematic review came to was that pole walking programs have some benefit for physical and psychological adults with and without clinical conditions. This study looked at adults between 60 and 90 years old. At the conclusion, these 15 studies say that Nordic walking is a safe and accessible form of exercise for the elderly. At 61, I don't know that I want to be called elderly, but the point stands that it's older adults. This picture right here is our friend Bonnie. That is her 70th birthday present. She is hiking the Pacific Northwest Trail using poles. So she is staying active into her 70s. Pole walking also improves the 6th vital sign, which is walking speed. This study looked at some adults 60 and over. Significant improvements were noted in a number of things, but definitely in, the gait velocity. The poles give people confidence to move quicker. We know how important it is for older adults in balance. We wouldn't be here today otherwise. Studies show that Nordic walking is a simple, well-tolerated exercise for older people and improves their balance and functional mobility. It also improves mental health, which is huge, especially in this population. Because people may not be able to get out, the poles will give them the ability to be out and socialize. And so that is going to improve their mental health, decrease their depression. So there's it above and beyond regular exercise. Nordic walking showed to be to improve it among frail older adults. This is a case study with the Zeno walkway. And if you look at her on the left, you can see her waddling gait. You can look at her walking pattern and the use of her arms. She really has to swing her arms a lot to stay in balance. Compared to walking with poles on the right, her steps look better, her arm swings are more under control, and she's no longer waddling. And here are some metrics that were shown with this. It increases the walking speed, as I said earlier. The stride width changed with the poles, the gait variability, step length increased, and speed increased. So all things that we would like to see when someone's walking patterns. So as you can see, pole walking programs offer numerous benefits: the balance and stability, strength throughout the whole body, including the core and upper body, improved gait patterns, as just you saw with that lady, aerobic capacity, and again, the mental health component of mood and sense of well-being. These benefits are crucial in fall prevention, especially in older adults. And these programs also experience higher levels of adherence because they're fun. They give people the ability to get out and do things that they might not otherwise do. So let's look at some of the possibilities. The activator poles, which are the Urban Polling Incorporated, is a Canadian company that makes specialized walking poles for fitness and rehab. And the activator poles were developed by an occupational therapist who worked a lot with patients with neurological issues such as Parkinson's. And the reason why she made the poles was twofold. The motor components, of course, the gait mechanics, but also the cognitive. If you think about pole walking, it is sort of equivalent to crawling in an upright position. So the poles work both your body and your brain. I'm going to talk about a gentleman I work with. This is one of my clients. And George has, at the time of this video, he has had hip surgery, hip replacement bilaterally, and spinal surgery. And I just want you to see the difference in him and his confidence level with and without poles.
Lisa, we had a comment.
Sure.
They asked if you would click the button to share the audio before sharing a video next time.
Oh,
I
how do
don't
I
think,
do that?
see, I think it should be more down at the bottom, I believe.
I don't know, Roy. How do I?
There should be down at the very bottom where
Oops.
or somewhere there on your share. It should be part of share.
Yes.
How do I get to it from here?
Can you see that, Roy? I
No, I
can't see it
can't.
on mine.
I can't see it. Can you enlarge the screen a little?
Well, most of the videos don't have
Okay. Okay.
music anyway.
Okay.
Right
Yeah.
there.
Okay.
Right there. We were looking
There.
at the wrong side. Right there at the bottom of the play bar is the speaker symbol. Right here.
I'm not seeing it. I'm so sorry.
That's okay. On the PowerPoint slide, you have
Okay.
the bar down here at the bottom in the center of the slide, and you can see the speaker symbol.
This one?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
You might be able to raise that tab up some.
Well, this video is kind of loud. The
Oh,
music in
okay.
this video, so I don't want to blast everybody. All right, let's see if we can go.
I'm not getting any video on my end, or any audio, I mean.
The audio, okay.
Uh-huh.
Again, this is just it's just music in the audio. But I just want you to see George's gait. And then again, here is a gentleman named H, who is a veteran, lives in Florida, and has Parkinson's. And so here's the difference before and after. Again, we don't need the audio. Just look at the difference in his gait.
I'm going.
Compared to walking with poles. Look at the confidence. Look at his gait, his stride length, and even that smile. And again, a side-by-side comparison of poles versus using a roller. Obviously, there are times to have the walker, But if someone is able to use the poles, look at her upright posture. And the nice thing about using poles is you feel like you have ability and not just a disability. You won't be able to hear this video, but she's talking to him about his stride length, and he was noticing a difference in the length of his stride. This is a gentleman who has Parkinson's. And so he talks with her about the stride length. So we're just going to jump on past that. So benefits beyond just walking, you can increase the confidence and reduce the fear of falling and provide structure activity, but folks can also integrate it with exercise routines that they're already doing, whether it's physical therapy or whether it's their own workouts. So here is someone using different color steps to challenge their ability, their sequencing, their coordination. You can use the poles to drive effort in bigger and larger movements. If anyone is familiar with LSVT, LSVT big and LSVT loud, they encourage big movements for folks with Parkinson's and other neurological issues. So you can use the poles with those programs. And again, here are a few things where they're using the BOSU, where they're using different color dots. He's walking on those river rocks, for lack of a better word. You can increase intensity with poles if you're going out just walking or hiking. You can use them in circuit training. You can use them in high intensity interval training. You can use them for plyometrics. Again, this is going to be to the level of your client. You're going to monitor the client, make sure that they're doing an activity that is appropriate for them. And you can also use it in seated programs. You can use the poles to improve their balance, getting up out of a chair with 4 points of contact, but they also can do an entire exercise routine, including the poles in their chair exercises. They can be included in any type of class. So a lot of rec centers, YMCAs have fall prevention classes, balance classes. I worked for the YMCA for lots of years and I taught a balance class. Active older adult classes, either seated or standing. They can be indoor and outdoor walking groups. So there's lots of options to include poles in programming that's already going on. Here's an example of one done by one of the urban polling master trainers. She does a Parkinson's community exercise class. So she did a 12-week class twice a week. Her big thing is doing things outside as much as possible. That is her business. And she noted improvements in strength, endurance, dynamic balance, confidence, and mood throughout those 12 weeks. Another program is in Ireland by nurse Laura Tully. That's her in the picture. It's called the Fit Farmers Program. And they do a 6-week program. She does pre and post measurements. If you know farmers, they have to have body parts hanging off before they will go for any sort of medical intervention. So in the beginning, they were a little skeptical about it. And now she sells out multiple programs throughout the year because the farmers are so excited to do it. And they've seen such good results. And they call it Fit Sticks for Farmers exercise classes. So how do you find poles? Woo, come on. Oh my goodness, I didn't want that. Hold on. If you're interested in the urban polling and activator poles, you can find them at our website or Amazon. You can also find other poles. They may be shaped differently and have different tips. Again, this is going to be for your needs. One thing I would definitely recommend is make sure that your instructors are educated. Urban polling has instructor courses that are continuing education certified. But just make sure that the person who is teaching the classes knows how to incorporate the poles safely and effectively. And then urban polling is pairing with a number of different organizations to build healthy communities. So here's my contact information, and I'm happy to answer any questions that you have.
Well, looking in the comments, we really don't have a question, but we have two comments.
Okay,
April said, got some poles last year. Takes a second to get used to, but it definitely works all your muscles.
it
Exclamation mark.
does. For sure.
Uh, and then Priscilla said, I've used those at times, had an accident after a wheelchair and walker. It is much better with the poles.
Absolutely. I not
Uh,
only worked for the company, I actually used them before I worked for urban polling. I used that. I had hip replacement in 2019 and used them before to get ready for the surgery and then post surgery as part of my rehab. And then the great thing is you can continue to use them, as a fitness tool even today.
okay. We got a question from Lindsay. How do you encourage clients to try poles and leave the rollator behind? I have so many clients that won't give up the rollator due to the seat and due to fear.
So what I actually do with a couple of my clients is I fit the poles to them, and then I will walk backwards, pulling the rollator as they walk with the poles. And I tell them, if you feel uncomfortable, drop the poles to the ground and grab the handles. It's right here. And they generally don't, but having that rollator right in front of them and you're moving backwards, pulling it along, gives them the confidence. A lot of folks like using poles also because they look sporty versus, the rollator doesn't always look very sporty.
Right. Um, Dana asked, are these recommended for all ages?
They are. Yes, you can use it for any age.
Okay. And I believe Roy's got his hand up, so I'll leave it to Roy here.
Yes, I'm curious. I know a couple PTs and OTs, and they suggest that with canes, that they be initially issued with somebody, either a PT or OT, to make sure the height of the device is proper for the individual. Just don't take one off the shelf, so to speak, and just assume it's going to fit your height and other requirements of your physical being. Is that so? I'm just curious with the pose too, or does
Absolutely.
it matter?
It absolutely matters. I'm 5'6". If I grab the same pole height or cane height as somebody that's 6 feet, I'm gonna have a problem. And vice versa. If they try to use one that I would be using, they've got a problem. So any poles that you want to use must be height adjustable in order to be effective. Um, the reason why the poles are even better than a cane is because the cane, you're leaning on one side. The poles have you upright and balanced.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I don't see any other uh, questions or comments.
Okay. Well, I appreciate the chance to getting to speak with you today.
Thank you.
That was very informative, and I think we're all looking for ways to help those who, well, maybe all of us, and I'm making a general statement here, that need to get out and exercise more and look at those, especially elderly members of our families who want to, and maybe this is a possible answer for them.